Alrighty, everyone. Welcome to the Mafia Members Podcast. We are live today with Justin Trease from Talking Football. It is quickly becoming my favorite football podcast. So we'll get into that in a minute here, but we'll just get the intro rolling here.
The Mafia Members Podcast.
Alrighty. So, Justin, do you prefer Justin or Trease? I know everyone calls you Trease. I don't know if you have a preference or not.
I don't have a preference. Justin's great. Justin's great.
All right. So tell us about yourself. Tell us about Talking Football, where we can find you, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so you can find me on X, Justin Trease, just at Justin Trease. Pretty simple there. You can find our podcast at Talkin_Football, and it's Talkin with no G, so just TALKIN. And yeah, we've been doing the podcast for 5 years now, about 5.5 now at this point. So it's been an awesome ride. We're getting a lot of listeners, a lot of episodes and stuff like that. So if you guys are into fantasy, that's redraft and dynasty and gambling, we're the podcast for you. We keep it lighthearted. Got some amazing co-hosts in Dan Kiefer and Austin Cunningham. And then we have a great producer in Riley O'Brien who also does some interviews for us. So if you guys like interviews of other big time players and big time things, listen to those episodes as well.
Yeah. Like I said, it's become one of my favorite football podcasts that you guys have. I think the interviews that Riley does he's amazing at interviews, and really gets a lot of good info from the guests. But on the subject of Talking Football, before we really get into it, none of you guys have predicted the Bills to win the division doing your preseason. So if we were to give you guys a redo after week 2, would any of that information change?
Make the playoffs. Yes, I still think the Jets win this division. So there's that. I will say, if you go back and listen to some of our first podcasts, we were actually on the Bills. We actually said that the Bills should be our podcast team because we were so obsessed with you guys before you guys were good, before you guys were making the playoffs. So we love that. We actually had a listener call us, and he was a big college fan, but did not have an NFL fan or an NFL team, I should say. And we went through team by team of why he should choose each team, and we cut it down, and it ended up going down to the Bills and the Bears. And I was pounding the table for him to choose the Bills. He ended up choosing the Bears, and he texts me still to this day saying, I regret my decision.
Well, that's good. I think now you guys have switched to the Falcons. Seems to be your team.
Yeah, right now it kind of feels that way. I mean, we had a big parlay last year that was riding on them, and unfortunately, they didn't capitalize.
Okay, so what do you think so far of the season? Obviously, a 0-2 start is a rough start, but still early in the season. So kind of what are your thoughts so far?
Yeah. And for those that don't know, I'm a Jags fan, so that's when he says 0-2, that's for sure what he means. Yeah, I mean, it's been rough, right? So let's start off with week 1 against the Miami Dolphins. We had a 10-point lead at halftime. Team was playing great. Defense was playing great. We were driving it, about to have another 95-yard drive on them to punch into the end zone. Great play by Holland to punch it out of ETN's hands, and he fumbles into the back of the end zone. And then the very next play, 80-yard touchdown to Tyreek. Jags led for exactly 60 minutes of that game. They literally were never trailing in that game and just lost on the last second field goal. So that one hurt, right? Like that sucks. But I still happy with the way that team played, and I felt like it was a 50-50 chance of winning that game. Moving on to week 2, offense just struggled. Like that's the only way to put it. Interior offensive line really struggled, and we just weren't able to get drives going until the end. Still had a chance to win. Like we 25-30 yard line bomb at the end, and in and out of Strange's hands. Like if he catches that, we win that game, and that's for how poorly they played. So like it's just one of those things where it's like, you can say this about any team, but like we truly are 2 plays away from being 2-0. For as much as everybody's shitting on Trevor Lawrence and the Jags right now, like we really truly are 2 plays away from being 2-0. But again, the team's not playing very well either. Like they're just not. So
yeah, there seems to be a lot of, like you said, a lot of people commenting on if Trevor Lawrence is a franchise quarterback, does he have what it takes, and those kind of things, and is he a bust already, and those narratives just naturally kind of will come out when anytime anybody's struggling. So what are your thoughts on that as far as Trevor Lawrence is concerned?
I'm the biggest Trevor supporter you'll find. Like I love Trevor Lawrence. Like again, like QBR, he's playing great. Let's just talk drop percentages, right? Like, because that was a big thing last year too, was drop percentages. Right now, through 2 games, 16% of his dropbacks are dropped. Perfect throws dropped by the receivers. Like nobody's going to be doing well in that frame, right? Like so, it's just like that sucks. And let's go back to the Miami game. Christian Kirk had 2 that were on 3rd down that would have probably ended the game, honestly, like getting drives going and getting into field goal range. So that sucks. Obviously, he's had some bad throws. He's made some mistakes. He hasn't made too many mistakes this year in the sense of he has 0 turnovers. He's playing there. I don't like the play calling right now. I don't think they're doing a great job there. I think they need to find a way to just get Brian Thomas Jr. like the vocal point of this team. It's something crazy about like he has like a 92% win percentage on his routes right now, like just crazy. And like anybody that watches him realizes that this kid's going to be special. So anybody that's like, I'll fight people on the Trevor Lawrence. I just am. And like people are going to, be like, yeah, it's a fandom thing. But if you just watch him play for the most part, you can see that he still has it. And there's just like things that he can't control. The offensive line has been bad. Drops have been bad. And like, again, though, you need him to find a way to make plays too. So yeah. He's far from perfect. That's for sure.
Yeah. As Bills fans, we're very familiar with a Gabe Davis drop here or there. So we understand that pain for sure.
For sure.
But so do you think like maybe some of the because I haven't watched either of the Jags games yet. Mm-hmm. Do you think offensive struggles, like, is it defensive problems that maybe is impacting the offense, or like?
No, I think so. I'm just trying to think of like how I want to word this. Like, like the defenses are playing great, right, against us, and we faced 2 pretty aggressive defenses.
No, sorry, I meant like your defense. Like, is it something that you're like your defense can't do well, and it's impacting the offense or something like that?
Our defense has played lights out, I think.
Oh, okay, okay.
I mean, they gave up 20 points to a healthy Miami team, which doesn't happen very often, right? And then you also, and given Brown's offense isn't great, but they still only held them to whatever it was, 16, 18 points, whatever that was, right? Like if you went into the season saying your offense has to just score 20 points or 21 points every single game and you win, like every single team in the league is going to take that. Yes, 100%. So I'm very happy with the way the defense is playing. I think Devin Lloyd's taken a step up. I think Foye is playing great like he always does. The 2 edge rushers are fantastic. I will say the safety play has been questionable at best. I mean, they're like missing tackles at like a 30% rate right now, which is very scary heading into Monday night.
Okay, so what would you say is your biggest takeaway from the 2 weeks? Like, what is the overall theme right now? Like, is it we just need to get a win, or like we need to, like, what's kind of the thing, or mistakes, or what is the theme so far?
we're beating ourselves is the number one thing. Like we are just truly beating ourselves. Yeah, I mean, you have to get a win, I think, just because right now 0-2 teams only make the playoffs at a 12% rate. At 0-3, I think it drops to like 5%. So, I mean, you basically have to get a win here if you're wanting to think playoffs. I will say Jags have, under Doug Peterson, have historically started slow in September, and then they really pick up in October and November. And then December is kind of 50-50 at this point. Last year they did horrible, obviously ending the year when they did, but the year before that they went and won like 8 or 9 games in a row to make the or not. That was more like 5 or 6 in a row to make the playoffs. So there's that. My biggest takeaway right now is just we just need offensive linemen. Like that's really what it comes down to. There's only like 1 or 2 offensive linemen that I even trust on this team to be consistent. And when you have that, it's just not going to end well.
Yeah. I saw a stat the other day about Joe Burrow also, like he never gets off to a good start, and they're always in a playoff push, at least at the end of the season. So it's definitely like we said, it's early in the season, so it's not too late. You obviously still have 15 weeks left of football, right? 15 more games to sort everything out. So there's always that, the earth is falling, and the panic and everything set in. So cooler heads need to prevail, I feel like, especially from the national narrative around the team.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I mean, I think the hot seat's on Doug Peterson, though. Like, I really do. And Trent Baalke, for that matter. I think if we don't make the playoffs, both of them are gone pretty easily. Shad Khan came out, did a huge thing with the players on day 1 in training camp and says, I expect to win now. We're done with this losing stuff. I'm putting legit billions of dollars into this city and into a new stadium. We're not going to continue to lose. So I think both of them are gone in the playoffs.
Okay. So if there's an area they need to fix for Monday night, besides like drop balls, like what's a something that they need to do better, either defensively or offensively, to get a win on Monday night?
Yeah. Defensively, actually, I think if you keep playing the way you've been playing, I think we're going to be fine. That's not saying that we're going to shut down Josh Allen, because I just don't think that's going to be the case. But you're going to be able to slow them down enough that you give the offense a chance. That's all that you can ask for. Mm-hmm. And offensively, the scheme just has to be better. Sometimes it just feels too vanilla at times, that we just need to do that. And a lot of it is, in my opinion, so there are true rumors that Press Taylor calls half of the game and then Doug Peterson calls half of the game from an offensive play calling standpoint. And a lot of people are like, you can tell when Press Taylor's calling the plays and when Doug Peterson's calling the plays. And I mean, this is one of the reasons he got let go in Philadelphia, is because he had this loyalty to Press Taylor that was insane. And then he brought him here and he's kind of had the same thing. So, I mean, he even blocked him from having a chance at doing interviews last offseason to keep him here. So, and he's just bad. He just really is. I mean, he's not like his brother Taylor with Cincinnati. So anyways, I would say we just have to be a little bit more creative and not just so vanilla of offenses. And again, I know I've already said it, but we have to find ways to get Brian Thomas more involved. I would say on Sunday, it probably was pretty devastating when I'm sure Evan Ingram was a big part of the game plan and he hurt his hamstring during pregame warmup. So you actually have 30 minutes to adjust, right? Yeah. I think Strange played well, but that's another concern for me in this game in particular, is I felt like Evan Ingram would have a chance to make some big plays against your defense. Yeah,
exactly. Because we're missing our top two. We're missing our top 2 linebackers, so it would be definitely. So what are some things the Jags have done well, you think, that they need to continue doing? Are they just keep moving and the wins will come, or is there something that they might have to Yeah,
what they need to do is, obviously, I'm kind of repeating myself, but offensive offensive scheme, offensive playing just has to do better. What they've been doing well, again, is their defense. I really like what they're doing. Josh Allen's been playing great, even though he only has 1 sack in 2 games. Like, he's been putting a lot of pressure. He's getting stops. Trayvon Walker has 2 sacks. I already mentioned Devin Lloyd's playing well. Foye is playing well. Tyson Campbell going out with a hamstring injury is brutal. Like, that really sucked after giving him a big deal. Like, that sucks. But I think that we have a couple rookie cornerbacks that have been playing pretty dang well. So I'm happy with the way our defense is playing in Ryan Nielsen's new scheme here, formerly of the Falcons. So I'd say keep doing what you're doing on defense. And then I'm hoping Savage plays. He did not play week 2. So I felt like they were a little bit more like just base defenses and not as like creative in blitzes as they were in week 1, because they for sure were getting those. And that's because Savage is being able to play that nickel or safety. And so they're able to move him around quite a bit.
Yeah. And I mean, that's a good way to kind of slow down Josh Allen too, is, coming up with creative blitz designs and, different ways to put pressure on you. Because if he has time, he can, and he can find a line or a lane, or has time to sit back and throw the ball, he can zing it in there. So
for sure,
it's definitely something that, like, I think defenses need to try and do. So what do you think so far, division wise? Like, where how do you stack up? Obviously, Houston got off to a good start, but I had actually originally picked you guys to win your division, but. And again, 2 weeks in is early, but how do you think you guys stack up in the division?
Yeah, it's crazy because I still think that this is one of the best divisions in football, and we have a 2-0 team and 3 0-2 teams. It's crazy, right? But like, when you look at it, it's like, okay, so Houston's looking great. I don't think anybody catches them. They just look really good. Like, they haven't missed a beat. Let's go to the Colts. They obviously lost a tough game to Houston week 1, and then kind of an inexcusable loss week 2 to Green Bay.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Without Jordan Love, right? Like Malik Willis is like respectfully kind of garbage, and he's really just not that good. And they still couldn't find a way to win that. Shout out to the Packers defense though, because they played Richardson great. Titans should have won week 1 if it wasn't for Will Levis bonehead 2 plays, right? And then even last week, he made another bonehead play in the red zone that, like, they probably should have won that game too. And then I've already said that about the Jags. I feel like they were 2 plays away from winning theirs. I feel like we were very close to having 3 2-0 teams and a 1-1 team. So I still think this division is going to be hard. I don't think that Houston like wins every division game, right? Like, a lot of people like looking at it now would be like, oh, well, they get 6 easy wins. I wouldn't be surprised if Houston goes 3-3 in this division.
Yeah.
But again, I still think that everybody else is going to beat up on each other, and they're just not going to be able to catch them.
Yeah. Do you put any stock into the idea that, like, because like it happened with you guys, I feel like it happened with Baltimore, like you said, with Indianapolis as well, where you lose late in the first week, and then like it's tough to maybe bounce back and play as well as you should in the second game. Like, do you put?
Sure. Yeah, I put stock into that. Absolutely. Yeah. Totally agree with that. I will also say I didn't have Baltimore in the playoffs, and I got a lot of heat for that one. So yeah, I think there is a mentality there of like, oh my goodness, we just let that one slip away, and it kind of gets, and you hope that your team can recover, but sometimes they don't. But like, now after 2 games, it's time to buckle up the chin straps and just get after it.
Yeah. So looking at this matchup, I know on the Talking Football, you guys do lots of fantasy talk.
Yep.
So if you were to from this Monday night matchup, who is a must start besides the obvious of like Josh Allen?
Yeah.
But like, who would your must starts be?
Yeah, I know Kincaid is off to a very slow start for you guys, but I think Kincaid, historically, the Jags have struggled against tight ends. So I'd say Kincaid is there on your guys' side. I think the defense, the way the offense is playing for the Jags, I think your guys' defense is pretty dang safe there. So on that side, as a must start, I would say those guys. Obviously, you have James Cook, who just went off on Thursday night, but the Jags have been pretty decent against the running backs. Achane had a few big plays, but I mean, it's Achane and he is gone in a blink of an eye, right? So I think that's kind of a different category there. So Cook could obviously still have a big game and stuff like that, but I could also see him getting slowed down and them just saying, "Hey, it's got to be these receivers that have to beat us." Like I could see that being Nilsson.
Yeah.
As for the Jags, ETN has a touchdown in every primetime game that he's played, and he also has touchdowns against you guys in especially last year, right? You had that big one that sealed the deal. So I'd still say ETN, especially with Tank Bigsby getting hurt. His collarbone last week, that like he may not even play, so he might just be the true like workhorse there. So I could say ETN. I'm just so high on Brian Thomas that I think that he's going to make some big plays there. And other than that, I don't think there is anybody else on this team. And that's like Christian Kirk's one of my favorite players in the NFL, and I'm like having to bench him nowadays too. I mean, he has like 28 yards on the season. So
yeah. I just dropped him off my team.
Yeah, that's brutal, and it's hard because like 2 years ago, 1,000-yard receiver last year, well on his way to that before he tore his core on Monday night against the Bengals.
Yeah, exactly. But I saw the receiver for the Saints there, Shaheed.
Shaheed
was available, so I had to make the call.
Shaheed. So fun fact, because I'm in Utah, Shaheed's from Weber State in Utah, along with Taron Johnson from your team.
No way.
Also,
okay.
Like right very small score. That's awesome.
If there's a player that you would be sitting, we just talked about Kirk, but if there's probably a Bills wide receiver or something like that you're probably looking to sit.
I probably would sit. I mean, I'd probably sit Coleman. I know he's been the hot thing for you guys, but like I'd probably sit Coleman. I mean, it hurts me saying this. I'd sit Trevor. Like if you're playing Trevor, you're probably in a tough spot in fantasy anyways, unless you're playing super flex or in a deep league. Yeah, I'd say those guys. And then obviously you have to sit Ingram unless you have like, just because it's Monday night, you don't know if he's going to play. And I doubt you're going to know before the weekend, before Sunday, if he's going to play. So I know they said that it looks better than they thought, but it still could be week to week is what they kind of said today. So you might know, but like even it sucks for you draft Ingram for being your starting tight end, but you're probably gonna have to sit him just due to the injury. Yeah.
Okay, so all the questions will be answered 7:30 Monday night. So what do you think? How do you think the game goes? What's your score prediction and thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I mean, remind me, what's our record against Josh Allen? Just remind me. I think it's 2-0, right? My Josh Allen's better than your Josh Allen.
Only one of them had to change their name, though. Only one of them had to change their name.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we felt bad for you, right? We had to give you something. We had to give you one thing. Listen, I think going into Buffalo on a Monday night is going to be the hardest thing ever. I truly do. Also, side note, I'm super pissed that there's 2 Monday night games.
Yes, I hate that. I hate that.
You know,
I hate that. Yeah.
I'm gonna say something like 20. Wonder what I'm gonna say. Some offense happens. Let's go with 31-28 Bills.
Okay. I actually predicted. I actually said that the Jags are going to win this game. I think it's going to be not a last second, but I think it's going to be like a late game field goal. So my score prediction was 27-24 for the Jags.
We're close. Okay.
Because like I said, this is a game that your guy's back is up against the wall. Like you were saying, you need to go out and get a win. Before I get into it, what are your thoughts on a quote unquote trap game? Because we have the Ravens coming up week 4. That's like a big matchup for us. And
those are real. Like trap games are for sure real. I mean, you watch any sort of sports and you understand that, especially college, right? Like it happens the most in college, but I think it happens in the NFL as well. And I think that is a thing. I will say, because we've beaten you guys the last 2 times, it's probably not as much as a trap because they understand that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Dude, we beat you with Urban Meyer. Like that's how bad it is.
I
Right?
know. That's why I picked you guys to win, because I don't know. I can't explain it. I don't know why, but it just seems that you guys have our number.
Yeah,
and it's kind of like doesn't matter what we do or how good our team is looking. You guys, I think I can think back to, I think it was Blake Bortles was the quarterback, and he was beating the Buffalo Bills. Like,
I mean, we beat you in the playoffs in 2017.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Exactly. So I just don't have any faith in. I don't know if it's a matchup thing. You guys just match up well against us, or what it is, but you guys always seem to have our number.
Yeah,
we have the like I said, a team that's hungry for a win, needing to get a win. We have these, I don't want to say built-in excuses, but we're down our two best linebackers, and it's a whole new team and all this kind of stuff. And we got Baltimore next week and like all those kinds of things. So
yeah. I mean, I hope you're right, man. That's all I'm saying.
It's a prediction I'm very happy to be wrong on.
Totally.
But I just don't see it going well for the Bills.
Yeah, it's a big weekend of football for me. I mean, again, I'm a Utah Ute, so we play our first Big 12 game against Oklahoma State on Saturday. We got this on Monday. Like it's some big games, so I'm excited.
I got to I don't know if you watched the Monday or the Thursday night game, but I think it was our first action of Cole Bishop got into the game, and huge pass breakup, man. Cole Bishop. Yeah.
So I have a Cole Bishop jersey. He is actually one of my top 3 favorite Utes of all time. Like he is. You guys got something special. Like I know he didn't play week 1 and he played very little in week 2. I think it's just a matter of time before he takes over the starting role there.
Yeah,
and I have Kincaid as well.
As soon as I saw him with that pass breakup, I thought of you right away. I was like, you were pounding the table for him. Like last time when you guys were on, you were telling me how good of a player we got and all that kind of stuff. So as soon as I saw that play, I thought of you right away.
I love it. He's so awesome, and he's just like down to earth dude. He's great. So,
okay. So do you have anything for me?
Yeah. I mean, how are you feeling about the team? Like, obviously, this is your Bills podcast. How are you feeling right now?
I don't know. I like our record says I should be happier with our team than I am. Mm-hmm. Obviously happy to have 2 wins, but I don't know if everybody eats and there's opportunities for everybody. I don't know how long that can last for.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on your wide receiver core? Because, like, obviously let's just talk last week, right? Like, none of them really did much. I mean, it was the James Cook show and the
Exactly.
show, right? Like, so, like, is that a concern for you moving forward of, like, when you do need it?
100%, because James Cook is not going to have 3 touchdowns. He only had like 95 like scrimmage yards total, but still had 3 touchdowns, right? So that's not sustainable. You can't rely on that to happen. I think. Like the game was decided before the Tua injury, so I don't think that we got off easy or anything like that. We still played well. We still played and beat them, but I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic that we're as good as our the saying, you're as good as you are what your record is or whatever.
Yep.
So I don't know if I believe fully in that yet or not with this team. I have lots of concerns on our defense. I think we have a very underrated corner group, but our safety group needs help. But yeah, I think overall I'm happy. Obviously, I can't complain with 2 wins, but I'm nervous. I'll say I'm nervous.
I like it. All right, cool, awesome, man. Well, I really appreciate you having us on, or I guess me on, but talking in general on.
Yeah, man, right on. I'm super happy you were able to join. Like I said, I listen to you guys every week. I think you guys are awesome. It's I'm sitting in my car driving home from work, screaming out trivia answers or laughing at whatever you guys are talking about. I think it's great, man. I really like the show and appreciate you guys coming on.
Well, appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, and if anybody wants to listen and likes trivia and watch us fail at some trivia, come on over. So we love it.
Right on, man. Thank you very much, and go Bills.
Okay, thank you.